In the winter of 1959, in the heart of the Ural Mountains, 9 experienced Soviet hikers embarked on an expedition that would become one of the most chilling and inexplicable mysteries of the 20th century. Their goal was to reach Otorten Mountain, a name that in the local Mansi language means, "Don't go there." They never returned. What happened to them is known as the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a story so bizarre it continues to baffle investigators and researchers over 60 years later. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old radio engineering student. They were all young, fit, and skilled in wilderness survival. On January 27th, they set out on the final leg of their journey. A 10th member had turned back earlier due to illness, a decision that unknowingly saved his life. For days, the group skied through the desolate, snow-covered landscape, documenting their journey with diaries and photographs. Their last photos show them in high spirits, setting up camp on the slopes of Kalatsayakal, or Dead Mountain. Then, silence. The group was expected to send a telegram on February 12th, but it never came. A search and rescue operation was launched. On February 26th, the search party made a horrifying discovery. They found the hiker's tent, but it was badly damaged and half buried in snow. What was truly strange was that the tent had been sliced open from the inside. It seemed the hikers had desperately cut their way out into the freezing night. Inside the tent, all their belongings, warm clothes, shoes, food, and supplies were left behind. Outside, a trail of footprints led down the slope toward a nearby forest. The footprints showed that some of the hikers were barefoot, while others wore only socks or a single boot. In temperatures plummeting to -30 degrees Celsius, why would 9 experienced hikers abandon their shelter and supplies in such a panicked state? The first 2 bodies were found about a mile away, near the remains of a small fire under a large cedar tree. They were undressed down to their underwear. 3 more bodies, including Igor Dyatlov's, were found between the tree and the tent site. They appeared to have been trying to return to the camp. The official cause of death for these first 5 was hypothermia, but this was only the beginning of the mystery. It took another 2 months for the snow to melt enough for the remaining 4 hikers to be found. Their bodies were discovered in a ravine, buried under more than 10 feet of snow, not far from the cedar tree. And this is where the story takes an even darker turn. These 4 had suffered catastrophic internal injuries. One had a severely fractured skull. Another had major chest fractures with force comparable to being hit by a car. Yet, bizarrely, they had no significant external wounds. One of the women was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Adding to the strangeness, some of their clothing was found to be radioactive. Not dangerously so, but enough to be considered unusual. The victim's skin was reported to have a strange orange tan, and their hair had turned gray. What could have caused such terrifying injuries and bizarre physical changes? Over the years, dozens of theories have emerged, each trying to explain the unexplainable. Let's explore some of the most prominent ones. The first and simplest explanation is an avalanche. The theory suggests that a slab avalanche buried the tent, forcing the hikers to cut their way out. In a state of panic and disorientation, they fled to the forest for shelter. The internal injuries could have been caused by the crushing weight of the snow. However, critics of this theory point out several inconsistencies. The search party found no evidence of a recent avalanche. The tent was only partially covered, not flattened, and the hikers' tracks leading away from the tent were orderly, not indicative of a panicked flight from a wall of snow. Plus, an avalanche doesn't explain the missing tongue or the radioactivity. Another popular theory involves a secret Soviet weapons test. The area was known for military activity. Could the hikers have accidentally stumbled upon something they weren't supposed to see? This could explain the radioactivity and the government's initial secrecy surrounding the case. Some eyewitnesses, including other hiking groups and meteorological staff in the region, reported seeing strange orange spheres or lights in the sky on the night of the incident. Could these have been missiles or some other advanced aircraft? This theory suggests the hikers were either killed by the concussive blast of a weapon or eliminated by military personnel to cover it up. The internal injuries are consistent with the blast wave, but this doesn't fully account for why they fled the tent in such a state. Then we enter the realm of the paranormal. The local Mansi people have legends about the area being a place of dark energy inhabited by spirits. They spoke of a menk, a kind of local yeti or snowman. Could the hikers have encountered a creature unknown to science? While there's no physical evidence, the sheer terror that drove them from their tent and the violent, strange nature of some injuries have led some to consider this possibility. It's a compelling thought, but it remains firmly in the realm of speculation. Let's not forget the infrasound theory. This hypothesis proposes that a specific weather phenomenon called a Kármán vortex street could have generated low-frequency sound waves or infrasound. This sound, below the range of human hearing, can induce feelings of intense panic, dread, and nausea. It might have caused the hikers to flee their tent in an irrational frenzy. Once outside, disoriented and exposed to the elements, they succumbed to hypothermia. The internal injuries could have resulted from falls in the dark. This theory provides a natural explanation for the panic, but struggles to account for the severe specific trauma found on the last 4 bodies. For decades, the official Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers died from a compelling natural force. This vague conclusion only fueled more speculation. The case files were classified and hidden away for years. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the investigation, aiming to finally solve the mystery. After analyzing all the evidence with modern technology, they announced their official conclusion: an avalanche. They proposed a scenario where a small, delayed slab avalanche struck the tent. After fleeing, the group split up. Some died of cold, while others fell into the ravine and were crushed by the weight of the snow above them. The missing tongue, they argued, was likely due to natural decomposition in a wet environment. But this official conclusion hasn't satisfied everyone. Too many questions remain unanswered. Why the radioactivity? What were the strange lights in the sky? Why were the injuries on some so severe, yet so clean, without external damage? Why did they flee without shoes and coats into the Arctic cold? The Dyatlov Pass Incident is a perfect storm of confounding evidence, strange coincidences, and unanswered questions. It's a puzzle where none of the pieces seem to fit together cleanly. Each theory explains some parts of the mystery, but leaves other crucial elements unaccounted for. Was it a tragic accident of nature, a military cover-up, a paranormal encounter, or something else entirely? The story of those 9 hikers on Dead Mountain serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction and some mysteries may never be solved. The silence of the Ural Mountains holds the secret, and perhaps it will stay that way forever. What do you think happened on that fateful night? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy diving into history's greatest mysteries, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. We'll see you next time.